Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a fun and exciting video. It's something I've been anticipating for such a long time, and I've been working on it for quite a while because it took me quite a while to finish. This book is, let me see how many pages. This book was 760 pages, so it took me a long time. This is actually the biggest book I've ever read, and I also read it during one of the most craziest and chaotic moments of times of my life too. So I think that's why I was reading capturing little crevices of time to read this book, and I have no regrets. It was such a transportive book. So I'm gonna go into it in just a second, but I'm just gonna kind of start this video by saying I'm sorry I look like pure doo-doo and pure death because I literally just got off of work and I might look like death because I'm so hungry. I'm gonna eat like a ravenous. I'm gonna be ravenous after this because I'm starving. I just got off of work and I just kind of changed into something I wore last night. I wore this last night, and I am just wanting to film something because everybody actually left. We have relatives staying with us, so it's been kind of hard to film. Kind of the reason why. Also, don't mind the mess in the background because we are in the process of moving still. I'm still in the process of house hunting and everything, but I'll go into that after the video. I just wanted to just kind of start this video by saying that this is going to be the second solo book review I've done on my channel. I've only done one of these and they were so much fun, except the other one I did was a spoiler video. This one's going to be a spoiler-free video, and this one is based off of a book that I was absolutely I was freaking out when an author reached out to me for this. So this was the second book that an author has ever reached out to me and asked if I wanted it and if I wanted to read it, and I receive a copy of my own and then to talk about it. And she's actually working on the second book right now as we speak, which I cannot wait to read because this book left a bunch of things that I have to know in the second book, and I had so much fun that I know the second book will have that same type of vibe. But the book that I received, and I'm absolutely honored and blessed to receive it, is Nine of Swords by Brooklyn Quintana. I literally freaked out when I opened this because first off, I love how chunky this book is. It's the best chunky book. Also, don't mind, I've literally brought this book with me every single day at work, so yeah, it's kind of been through it a little bit. This came with me during my training sessions. I read this in my car. Every time I had any lunch break, I would just read. I would just read as much as I could. I'd read a little bit before I went to bed, and it was the perfect thing to do because it transported me to a whole new world. Oh my gosh, my shadow freaked me out. I thought it was a bug, but it literally transported me to a whole new world when I was just kind of going through so much, and I was really excited to receive it. Not only the fact that it's really huge and it's such a satisfying book to hold, but I loved the cover. I thought it was so gorgeous, and I love the name Nine of Swords. I feel like that's such a cool badass name. And yeah, so this is book one, Phineas Fogg by Brooklyn Quintana. I'll link everything down below. I think it's on Amazon, but I'm not for sure, but I'll just link it down if you guys aren't for sure. And it's not sponsored or anything. She literally just emailed me and asked if I wanted a free copy of her book and to talk about it because she's also creating the second one, and asked if I was interested, and of course I said yes because I am so honored to receive a fantasy book, and it's also a mystery book. And okay, I'm gonna sit up real quick. I have been looking for another type of book ever since Harry Potter, so something along the vibes of that type of world. And this literally, if you love Harry Potter, you're for sure gonna love this. So it's definitely not a copycat of Harry Potter or nothing like that, but it just gave off that same magical vibe. And let me just start by saying what this book is about. So I'm not gonna go too in depth, even though this book is huge and hefty and so much happens in it, but it's pretty much it revolves around about a boy named Finn, and he attends this magical military art school called Morency, which is located on a remote island where there's a bunch of creatures and dangerous fantastical animals and just phenomenal things, where there's just a bunch of different rumors about what happens there, and it's just a mystery but fantasy type of read, which I freaking had so much fun with. I loved it so much, and it's just about him and his journey, and then you also uncover so much more. You get to find out more about him and his upbringing as well as his friends and each character in the book. I was watching someone review this book too, and I feel like she explained it so perfectly. She said that every character had a type of personality where they all felt like she could feel connected to every single one of them, and there wasn't a character in here that I did not like not care for. I feel like every character in here was so different and so unique to the point that they were all memorable, and it just reminded me so much of Harry Potter. Like the students attending Hogwarts, that's literally the same vibe I got from this story. But the only difference that I really got from it was, actually there's so much differences. So this literally gave off the same vibe, except it kind of dove into like a jungle-based environment, which I found to be so cool because I love reading a bunch of these fantasy books, and a lot of them like take place in like jungles where there's like mermaids, there's sirens, there's things not only on land but in water, which I find to be so fun. If there's anything like ominous lurking in the water, I'm like a sucker for it. Anything that's creepy and like lurking and stalking the environment, that's when I get really hooked when I start reading these stories, because creatures, like any type of creepy creatures, or the way that they're described, if they're like different or if they're not different as like a normal creature in our world, I just find it to be so fun and fascinating because I love reading stories that have animals. But if they're like a fantasy based animal, I am a freaking sucker for it. So I had so much fun because there was those type of creatures. There was a part where they even talked about something kind of lurking in the waters, and it was like rumors about how dangerous and to steer clear of it, and I literally ate it up. I love that part so much. I just thought it was so cool. So I'm excited to see what she's gonna have in her second book because I want to see if there's some more creatures in there. I did gain a lot of favorites towards certain characters, which I'll go into in just a second. But yeah, so this story literally reminded me so much of Harry Potter, but it had its own like storyline to it. It just gave that magical feel. That's why I'm saying, like, if you loved Harry Potter, you're for sure gonna love this because it gave off like the students attending like a magical school where there's like a rumor and there's certain things that you have to do in that school, and it brings up risks of danger and a whole new like adventure. This whole story, like all these pages, was filled with adventures. So if you're ever bored, I would literally suggest getting this book because there was always something happening. There was always some adventure. There was never any slow parts. There was like, for a huge book, I was a little afraid that there was going to be slow parts, and there was no slow parts. There was always something going on, and I can like link it down below, but I played like it's kind of like a Hogwarts, it was supposed to be like a Hogwarts playlist, but it's not like the actual music from Harry Potter. I think it came from like the Hogwarts Legacy game, but it just matched the vibe of this book so much to where I felt so transported. Like I played that in the background while I was reading on my lunch break, and I would just read, and I felt so transported. I was like training for my new job, and you know how when you're starting a new job, it's super fun and exciting, of course, but you also have anxiety, and no matter what, you are gonna kind of have moments where you feel a little frazzled because you're just adjusting to a whole new job. And I needed something to kind of just, during my lunch breaks, I needed something to kind of get my mind cleared and just kind of calm me down. Like I was even hungry because I haven't really had lunch breaks in a while. Like I said before, I was a stay-at-home mom, so this is my first job since, it's actually been a few years since it's been my first job, because I used to work at another place before I became a mom. And yeah, I'm not gonna go in depth about that, but it took me a minute to adjust, like running around and doing all these certain things and these certain tasks, and it's a whole new environment for me to learn. So I wanted something that was gonna clear my head, and this book, literally, I will always keep it and treasure it because it brought me to a different world. Like during those like moments of where I just needed to clear my head and just relax and just think about something else other than like actual society, and it brought me into like this fantasy world, and there was all these creatures in it, all these characters that were actually interesting. I'm sorry, that was my phone. But yeah, there's all these characters that were so interesting. Like I had to know their backstories. There's so much like moments where you kind of felt really like your heart tugged for some of the characters, because there was just some parts where it was really sad. Like it was a lot of emotional moments, not a lot of emotional moments, but a lot of moments where you can put your shoes in their positions and kind of have a lot of empathy for them. And I also felt like the characters in the story were described to where they really are like unique characters, really came to life. Like I sometimes feel like after reading this, I still think about it and I think about the characters, and I feel like they're still like they're real. I feel like I just attended Morency, and I am on like a break right now from school, so I came back home and I like went through my boat and I came back home, and I'm gonna go back soon and have to do like everything that is stated that you're supposed to do at the school. I'm not gonna go in depth because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but this story just had so many great themes. It had so many themes of grief, it had themes of friendship, and even I guess like themes of kind of like someone being like an underdog but kind of going into a way better position, and a lot of found family moments, and there was some romance in it, which I really enjoyed. I also, my favorite parts though, I would have to say, would have to be the parts that involved the animals or like the creatures. If it was a creepy creature, I was like so interested in it, and there was some parts too that were really eerie. So it's not like creepy, like it's not like a horror book or anything, but there was parts in it where you could literally picture what they were going through. Like I think there's this part where they go through the catacombs, and I think that's how you say it, I'm not for sure, but it was made of something, and I was like, that is so creepy, but that's really cool that she put that in the story. So I just had so much fun. Like she created a whole new world like within all these pages. I'm like, geez, how did you do that? I would get tired making a book after 2 pages. Like I just think it's so cool that she created this entire universe, and it was something that reminded me so much of Harry Potter, but it was way different, and it just gave that vibe of like the Harry Potter like school and everything, and that little playlist I played in the background just matched it so well. Also, I have to say my favorite characters for sure would be Mariah. I love Mariah's character. I also really like Holland's character. He reminds me for some reason, I don't know why, I don't know if because I read it before I read this, but he reminds me of Cardan from The Cruel Prince, even though he's not as cruel, but he just reminds me of Cardan. I just imagine him like how I imagine Cardan in my head. I just imagine him being Cardan. And I love Lux's name. I just thought that was such a cool name. You'll see her in a story later. And then also Buttons. Buttons was so cute. I want Buttons on my own. Buttons is like a cute little tiny bat, which I'm not gonna go in depth about. Also, this story has dragons on. I'm not gonna go in depth about it because I don't want to spoil it, but it does have so many like fantasy based creatures. So if you like stories with creatures in them that are like fantasy based, like mermaids, sirens, even creatures that they don't really explain in some fantasy books, but just something like really creepy and eerie, they have that in here. Like there was so many. I think there was a centaur. I don't know if that's what it's exactly called. Like the people were like half horse, half human, and yeah, there was just so much. And then when they talked about the island, I just thought it was so cool. I loved when they were on the boats. That was like one of my favorite parts, and there's a lot of parts too where I never felt like I was bored. Oh, also I loved when there's this part when his sister is inside the library, and when they discuss the library, I found it to be so cool. Like the way that she describes like the description of the library, I wish I tapped it because I would love to read that part. But it was like a dream library, and it was like from wall, like ceiling to floor, books on books, and just like spiraling up. And I just thought that was so cool. Like I love any type of stories that have books in the book. I don't know why, I just feel like it's such like a Twilight Zone type of feeling, but when she included that in the story, I thought that was so cool. Yeah, so I had so much fun with this book. Literally, I would recommend it to anybody, and I'm not just saying that because I received a free copy from her. I'm saying it because it's a book I've been looking for after reading Harry Potter. After reading Harry Potter, I wanted to find something that wasn't Harry Potter. Well, I still loved Harry Potter, and I'm always gonna read Harry Potter, but I wanted something, obviously like another book, I always want to read new books, and I wanted something that gave that vibe again, that pulled me back into that same type of feeling, and like the world and the found friendships and the upbringings, and where you want to find out like the little mysterious things. Like there's a bunch of mystery that happens in this, and it's not to the point where it's like unanswered in an annoying way. It's like to the point where you're left on like a mini cliffhanger, and you have to know what's gonna happen, and you have to read the second book because you want to know what's gonna happen. And there's one part in here that I am just anticipating. Maybe one day I will do a spoiler on this, but for now I don't want to do one like a spoiler. But there's a part where they talk about they go to this shop and they receive something. I don't want to go in depth. I guess I'm making it really like if you haven't read it, it's just gonna be confusing, but I just have to know like who it is. Okay, I have to be kind of quick because my camera is gonna die, but I have to know who it is. Like I have to know. And yeah, so this book I would definitely recommend it to anybody. I hope I went through it enough to like kind of explain, but overall the characters in it, they were described in such in-depth and descriptive ways where they all had like their own characterizations, and they were all interesting. Like they were really good characters. Like she created them to where they came to life, And then also the settings, like when she described the environment, it literally transported me into the world. Like I felt like I just jumped in the book and it brought me into those environments. So she was great on the like the setting descriptions, and that's like another thing I always loved in books, like when the author can really describe the settings really well. And yeah, so I love that she described the settings in like such a transportive way. I also feel like this book had so many themes. Like there was animals, there was found friendships, there was uncovering family secrets and still some to find out, there was found families, romance, like I don't know if this is the word, but something involved in like type of like when someone's like an underdog and they end up being a really important person to so many people, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what that word is, but that's like the vibe I'm talking about. And yeah, this book just had everything. It was a fantasy mystery for sure, and the island just held so much secrets and so much adventure. Like there was always something going on. So I also loved the characters that I ended up loving in the story. I always wanted to find out more about them, and that's why I really want to read the second one, because I want to like discover more about those characters, like about Mariah and Holland, because there's something about Holland I have to know. Like I have to know a certain thing about this character. And if you read this book, then you'll know what I'm talking about, but there's something that you're like, huh, that's weird. And Buttons, I hope Buttons in the second book, because Buttons was so cute. Buttons was like a tiny little bat, and the reason why they named him Buttons was because he had little button eyes. Like how freaking adorable. And this story literally made me want to buy a dragon necklace. I'm not going to go in depth and say it, but it just made me want to get a dragon necklace. And yeah, I'm so blessed and honored that this author reached out to me and asked if I wanted a free copy. So thank you so much again to Brooklyn Quintana and her publishing company for reaching out to me and asking if I'd like a free copy. I am literally changed after reading this book. I think about this book all the time. Like it's laying by my bedside, and I fell in love with the characters, I fell in love with the book, I fell in love with the creatures, I fell in love with the setting, I just fell in love with everything about it. It literally gave me the same feeling I had when I read Harry Potter, and I haven't found that feeling in another book in quite a while. So I am so happy. And I was a little nervous because it was a really hefty book and I didn't think I was gonna enjoy every second of it, but I absolutely enjoyed every second of it. Like I would read this again, and next time I'm gonna annotate it for sure, because there's a lot of parts I really liked, and I loved the interaction between Mariah and Finn. It was so good. And there was parts within it where I had to reread again and I was like, wait, did that really just happen? So this book really will transport you into a whole new world, and it will keep you busy. So if you ever go on a long road trip or you go somewhere for quite a while and you don't know what book to bring, I would totally highly recommend getting this book, because it will keep you busy for quite a while and there's always something going on. And it really helps me get through my like life adjustments when I was transporting from being a stay-at-home mom and then going into work. And it was actually kind of hard, if I'm being honest. It was hard for me. This is kind of me just like kind of going a little bit, I don't know if it's like too in depth, and I'm not trying to be like make it sad or anything, but I was just so used to just seeing my baby like every 24 seconds, like 24/7. And then I went into a new job and then I wouldn't see her for hours of the day, and it was really hard. And also I just need to like learning. I love my job and I had so much fun with my training. Hey guys, sorry my camera died, so I'm gonna make this really quick. But yeah, this book literally transported me to a whole new world, and it helped me get through everything when I was just kind of just trying to adjust to stuff. And I love my job and I loved training and everything, but of course I'm like a perfectionist deep down, and I just needed moments where I was like, why did I do that? I should have done this, I should have done this, I need to get things right, I need to learn everything right now. So when I went on my lunch break, it was a nice like relief to just get into the story and be sucked into a whole new world and just be brought into this like academy. And I would recommend reading this with a certain playlist. I just found it on YouTube, so I'll link it down below. But I'm probably not going to go so in depth about everything right now because I'm filming this on my phone now, so sorry about the quality and it's really shaky, so I'm probably not going to be too long. But I just wanted to do a quick outro and say thank you so much again to the author. Like, thank you so much for sending me this beautiful book, and I'm so honored and so blessed to have a copy of it. And I would definitely recommend it to everybody who's watching this video just to read it and give it a try, because it's totally worth reading all these like 756 pages of it, because there was like literally something going on in every page, and it was so much fun. So I'd recommend it to all of my subscribers, and even though I don't have like a million, but just like everybody who is still stuck on my channel. I'm so grateful and so honored. Thank you so much for being there, and who's stuck around and who's still sticking around even when things are just a little crazy right now. And I am just happy I got to film something again. I really missed filming, and I'm hoping once I get settled, I know I keep saying this a million times, but I hope that once I get settled, it'll be a lot more easier to film things. And I am so happy I had the moment to just film something for you guys, because I really miss just talking on camera, and it's like having a friend where you just want to catch up and tell them everything. But soon I'll be able to like kind of catch up with you guys and kind of talk with you guys more. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are enjoying the books you guys are reading. I definitely would recommend picking up this book, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.